and content creation. Amit, should we start your presentation first? Or let me just introduce Hasnian also. Hasnian has come all the way from Sydney for this talk. I think case studies of how other companies have created content is important. So Hasnian is going to share a lot of these case studies. He's a person who's worked for almost 5-6 years in India, last 5-6 years in Australia, worked for Yahoo, worked for a lot of companies like National Stock Exchange of India. He's a technology enthusiast, and we're really grateful for you to come down all the way from there to come and share your knowledge with us. So welcome, Hasnian. Yeah, so.
Hi, everyone. So while the presentation is loaded, before I start, I knew we totally have about 50 minutes with you guys, and the topic is how to create awesome content. I wanted to give you all maximum value for the time you're spending here. So what I have is, I am just throwing out ideas. There'll be 5 ideas. I'll go into good details, so they feel real, and if you want to go back after the session on your laptops, try it out, it'll all work. Of those 5 ideas, even if you leave with one solid idea for your website, I can guarantee you even that one idea will add a lot of value to the business. Just so I understand in the audience, the people at the back, can you guys hear me clearly? How many of us here are in the SEM business, search engine marketing? If you could just raise your hand so I know who all is there. And how many of us here are, work for our own companies, for their own website? And how many work for clients? So you're helping a client build their website. Okay. And how many of us here create digital content, web pages? Okay, so there are a fair number of people who actually are responsible to create content. My first example is with travel. It's to do with search, and I'll go into travel. So travel strategy, what is searched? Some of the numbers here are small on the screen, so I'll read them out so it all makes sense to you. This is a travel website, and they're trying to figure out what is searched, like what do people want? Google Insights for Search actually reveals in great detail, not all detail, of what are people actually searching. So I went in there and I said, for India, since 2004, how many searched for vacation? And if you can see the graph below, it's a graph for the search keyword vacation for the past 8 years. You notice there are peaks every year, and it happens in April. For some reason, that peak has now shifted to May. So as a travel website, I know people are searching for vacation, and they're searching in the April time frame. Next step, you dig a little deeper. I went to google.co.in, the Indian version of the search engine, and I searched for vacation, and this is what I see. There is almost no significant vacation content on the first page. There are numerous companies who offer this product in India. You can clearly see there are numerous searches for it, but content is missing. There was one site that had vacation content, it's from India, but it's not Cox and Kings, Make My Trip, Clear Trip, Yatra, any of the big online vacation destinations in India. It was another site, and they in fact had done a very shrewd, they created content matching to what users were searching. You dig a little deeper. So this is a search for vacation over the past 12 months, 1 year. And as you can notice, in 2011, peak searches happened in April and in May. On the bottom left are the top searches, and the top search is summer vacation. Now it all makes sense. This is what people are searching for. Reason you need to know what people are searching for is then you give them the content they were seeking. There are other rising searches too. On the right is a list of rising searches, and the most rising search is vacation 2011. Dig a little deeper as we continue this example. I went and searched for summer vacation on the India Google website, and here you have more interesting content. In the middle is the organic search results, which is free, and there is a website called Culture Holidays. It's a small travel agency. Not to be demeaning, but it's not the size of Cox and Kings, Make My Trip, the big ones, and they have very relevant content for summer vacation. Clearly, if that's what I'm looking for, and such volume of people are looking for, that's a very attractive destination to go and seek that content. The advertisers have been smart too. On the right, all the prominent travel suppliers are there. This is the targeted content Culture Holidays has created. I'm not sure if they targeted to their search, but it's working for them. Then I search for the rising search, Vacation 2011. Suddenly, a lot of people are searching for this. And here, unfortunately, no relevant content. But there's an ad. It's a sponsored link by Cox and Kings, who realize that people are searching for this keyword and have placed an ad over there. But the content is still missing. Switching to another tool, we're talking about all these huge searches, but what's the number? There are tools in your AdWords account. By the way, how many of us have an AdWords account or have played with AdWords? There is a tool, it's free of cost in your account. It's called the keyword tool. You put in a keyword, it'll tell you how many searches. So I typed in summer vacation, and there are global searches, but I'm more interested in the India searches. That's where my clients are. 14,000, a little close to 15,000 a month. And then you come down, another keyword, about summer vacation, an equal number of searches. So 30,000 searches every month for this particular keyword. Of 30,000, these are all potential customers to sell something to. Let's move to an atypical example. Travel is a mature online business. Let's talk about shampoos. I bring this up just so you don't leave feeling this is not for me, which is not true. The word shampoo over the last 1 year, the chart shows a fairly uniform search pattern. Now let's dig deeper. What are people searching for around shampoo? But before I do that, I went to google.co.in, search for shampoo, no content. We have international brands, local brands who sell a lot of shampoo, but if I search for them online, no content. There is one ad. It's by an e-commerce company, strawberry.net, that sells shampoos. I don't think this is an Indian company. From what I vaguely know, it's a Thai company, a local Thailand company selling shampoos. They may ship to India. That's why they're capturing this search. But no Indian content, and this is on google.co.in. So then I started looking at what people are searching for. The top searches were hair. Then there is one called dandruff shampoo. And when I watch TV, I see all these ads having some product and marketing to people to solve dandruff. So it is in their marketing plan. It's just not online. A lot of people are searching for dandruff shampoo. Then on the right, there is rising searches. And the first topmost rising search is L'Oreal Professional. So searches are happening. On the previous screen, we saw no relevant Indian content. Then what content do they have? So I went to L'Oreal's Indian website. I went to Dove's Indian website. They're good websites, but they are not connected with what people actually searched for. If that's a proxy for what they want, they are not connected with that. They have good, interesting content based on what I think one or two people in a meeting room decided, but it's disconnected. Another idea, Google Trends. So this is a popular idea. Technology websites are often looking what content should they create. What do people really want to read about? And this is a comparison of two searches. One is for the Android, second is for the iPhone. They're both smartphones. If you look at the chart, in blue, the rising one happens to be Android, and the diminishing one happens to be iPhone. In our market, Android is recognized as a bigger brand than the iPhone, maybe different for different markets. There is a spike for the iPhone. And then I was trying to figure out what is this spike for. That spike happened when the iPhone 4S launched. So this is giving you enough insight into what's being searched and create that relevant content to meet that demand. It's also giving you timely signals. if you want to write about the iPhone 4S, October would have been the perfect time because, as you can see, the searches dramatically spiked. Another example, let's talk about finance clients. So a finance client wants to create content, but they're trying to figure out, what do users really want? So I went into the keyword tool and I searched for the word investments. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And I see relevant searches. A lot of people are searching for investments. It's 1.5 million, 15 lakh. That is a tremendous market to serve to if you're selling mutual funds, insurance, ATC, ELSS, all these plans. But in investments, what are people really searching for? And on the fifth line, for those who cannot read at the back, the word bonds is there. I was shocked. Personally, I am I'm an avid investor, and I was surprised stocks was not in this list, mutual funds was not in this list, but bonds was in this list. Last 12 months, Indian searches. And I'm trying to figure out why people are searching for bonds. So I went and searched for bonds on the website, and almost no relevant content. HDFCs, DSPs, they are not on the search results. There is no one advertising over here. There is one website, again, very shrewd of them, it's called Appu Online. I had not personally heard of this website. I don't know if you all have, but they have definitely capitalized on this opportunity. People are searching for bonds. You go to their website, very good information on bonds. It meets the need.
Amit, I would like to add something out here. Just go back to the previous slide. So I think, what happens is that when you look at these tools and you start analyzing them, you always going to keep on getting ideas of, the idea that Amit will get will be different from the idea that I'll get, will be different from the idea you get. So let's look at the term investments. There are 450,000 searches. The interesting part is what is investment has more searches than that, 1.5 million searches. So just imagine there are more people interested in knowing what is investment. And the same thing happened in the mutual fund industry. So what we found was the number of people searching for what is mutual fund was much, much, much more than people searching for mutual funds. So what we did was we created a video that told you what is a mutual fund, which I played for a few seconds in my presentation. So wherever you see that the need for a question is high, where somebody is looking for content where he wants to understand the industry, and if you can create that content first before anybody else, the biggest benefit is that once you create it, then people will find it very difficult to replicate it, right? Because once you get the number of views, you start ranking organically, you will probably, it's a virtuous cycle. If you're the first ones to do it, then you have a lead.
In the earlier talk, you talked about Ferrari safety and S60 fuel mileage. How do you know people are searching for that? It may have come from a similar tool. Still curious what people are searching for bonds. So take it one level deeper. And when you look at the relevant searches for bonds, they're searching for infrastructure bonds. Now it all makes sense. Infrastructure bonds is a new thing by Government of India. If you invest in them, whatever you invest for the first 20,000, no tax. Among salaried employees, it's a great thing. It's an automatic tax saving. And that's what people were searching for. Moving on to the next example, it's about analytics. So we've talked about what people are searching for. Clearly, they're seeking for it. Let's create content. But once they come to our website, what are they doing? What are they liking? Let's create that content. I won't go very deep into analytics, just a quick overview. But again, it's all real. There's no bullet points. It's all live examples. This chart may look a little intimidating, so I'll just break it down for you. Analytics has goals. Goals is what you want your users to do. Goal number one is they completed an order, and it gives you over here 543. Another goal is they browsed my site over 5 minutes. If you're a corporate brochure website, or if you're an online magazine, that's a very good thing to have, more than 5 minutes on your website. Or another goal is they saw more than 4 pages. So they were clearly interested enough to see what you had to offer. Some goals are over 10 pages, especially for newspapers, online newspapers, a very good goal to have. And on the right is, this is what analytics gives you. It gives you a breakdown of the goals. So if you are selling, people log in, and according to this particular, of the login, 52% come down to placing the order, and of the 52%, 51% complete the order. This can be applied to various different goals. This is just a background for what analytics can offer. For those who have an analytics account, this is very basic stuff, but just so we're all on the same page. Okay, now what can analytics do for content? The pages per visit. Visit is I come to a website, I view it. On an average, people like me come to the website. How many pages do they browse? In this case, it's 2.8. Just an example. But that is just scratching the surface. Go deeper, 2.8. So how many people actually saw 2.8 pages? Is 2.8 good or bad? This chart, again, is very detailed numbers, but the first column is the number of pages. 1 page saw 2 page, 3 page, 4 page, and the right is the percentage. To summarize this, about 66% only saw 1 page. 66% 1 page, remaining 34% more. If they come to your website from a link and they just see the first page, that's all they see, that's not much to talk about. There is this term called bounce, wherein they come from a search engine or an ad to your website. They see that first page and then they leave. They bounce off your website. No talking about how much time they spent. But that is not a healthy sign. They didn't dig deeper. They didn't look at any detail. They left. Likely, what they saw was irrelevant. In this case, for this site, the bounce rate is 66%, which for most people is alarmingly high. If you are an online, if you have content to give, vacation portal, different ideas of vacations, different packages, if of 100 people, 66 come to your homepage and leave, then that's a huge opportunity gone. They've come and left. It's all about creating the relevant content, and below, for every page they enter in, it talks about is it better than the site average or worse than the site average. I'll now talk about social. That's the third and last piece of what signals can you use eventually to create good content.
Yeah, Amit, I'd just like to mention one quick thing on the depth of visit. What I and Ben were discussing in the morning when we were going through the presentation. I think Google takes about 200 odd different factors to rank you for even organic search or even decide what your quality score in PPC should be. If you just say a lot of us have landing pages which are microsites or a single landing page with a lead form. If a depth of field is a criteria for judging a quality score, can you imagine that our quality score, how much it can be improved for all the people where we use landing pages? So I think the key of digital is that we listen to one thing called depth of visit and then say, okay, can this be relevant to quality score or PPC, or can this be relevant for SEO? I think it can be. Because at the end of the day, the purpose of the search engine is to take as many inputs from different places to make sure that the most relevant content is served to the user. And I think depth of visit is a very, very important metric to making sure that the user is engaging with your content. So I think it will be relevant in PPC, it will be relevant in SEO. And so many times, I think about myself, we take the average visits, but the way Amit analyzed it, I don't think we do it as efficiently as that. And that's a learning, I'm sure that next time when I optimize the PPC campaigns and SEO campaigns, I think this is the criteria we're going to see.
All right, last piece before my fellow speakers can share with you. It's about social. This is relatively new, even I am learning, but I'll share with you some insights that you can use for your social strategies. Creating content. Content could be on your website or on creating digital assets on the social platform. Let's start with Facebook. Facebook pages, it's like a microsite on Facebook. It gives you very good features. You can have members, people can like. This is Ferrari's page. And they have different content. They'll put videos, they'll ask questions, they'll have polls. They've got about 614,000 people who like this. Let's dig a little deeper of what these numbers actually mean. What are the important numbers? What are the not so important numbers? Facebook gives you a tool called Facebook Insights. And I'll just quickly break down what these insights are. There are essentially 4 numbers. Of the 4 numbers, one is very important. Let's just get to that one number. This Facebook page, there are 3 postings they did. Let's say one is a question, one is a video, one is an update. There's this number called reach. Reach is the number of fans of that page and all the friends of that fans. It's a huge number, but it need not mean much. But let's go a little closer. Let's talk about engaged users. So Ferrari, this is not Ferrari, but if Ferrari puts up a video, you know, sometimes for those of us who use Facebook, you have to click to expand the entire content. The moment you click a post, you've engaged with it. So this is a good number to have, these many number of people engaged with it. But now is the real meat. Talking about this is where the virality takes place. So if they like your post, if they comment on the post, if they forward that post, they have truly engaged with that content. This is the key number. How many talked about this? There's a ratio also called virality. So if you have 100 reach, of which 10 truly engage, 5% is your virality. That's a good post. So when you're thinking of what content should I create, you want content with high virality, or at least high number of people talking about it, commenting on it, liking on it. And companies use, or your clients could use different techniques. Maybe for some of your clients, videos has high virality, or pictures. And for some of them, people even comment when you ask a question. You put a poll in there, you ask a question, open-ended question. People tend to interact with your brand. And this is a chart about demographics, splitting up the people on your fan page. In this particular example, dominant is male, over two categories, 18 to 24, 25 to 35. And the next after that is the same age group for females. This gives you insight into who are your fans, who is actually seeking the content that you create. That's all I had. Questions you want to do afterwards altogether? All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me here. I would like to take the podium actually, so that I don't mess up my notes there. So thank you for having me here. I would like to pick up from where Vivek has left about creating and optimizing content for your web presence and not just a website. And I would also like to pick up from Amit, who talked about a range of tools and channels for creating and optimizing content. I will extend this discussion by providing you a few pieces of best practice which can be used in creating content as a brand building strategy. And I'll show you a real case study on how it was done. So case study is the key part in my presentation. Just before that, a 20-second introduction of myself. I work for a company called Simplogoly, which is a boutique digital strategy and solutions company in Sydney. And we focus on building in-house capacity and capability for our clients. So we are big on coaching, mentoring, and training. I have worked for India for about half of my career, and for the last 6 years, I've been in Sydney. So just as a recap, Vivek talked about web presence and not just a website. In fact, website is no longer the key entity. It is just rather one of the major entities that you have. Content is king as well as a queen. It has a clear business case as a profit center. Good quality content in large quantity can help you bring loads of traffic and save money on paid media.
Just add a little bit thing out here. You talk about my article. I think I got a lot of flack for that article. So my article started off with SEO is dead and long live web presence optimization. And a lot of SEOs came and didn't like that idea of me saying SEO is dead. So I think next time I'll have to be very careful with my titles.
Yes. So basically that article, what I took out from that article was the fact that website is just one of the entities. It is rather web presence with a whole range of mobile apps, social media, and other content channels which are important. So I would like to give you some examples of what I'm talking about. I would like to talk about the fact that I try to understand media as owned media, earned media, and paid media. And when you invest in content, when you invest more and more into content, you find that you have a big increase in your earned media, and you save a lot of cost in paid media. So the more you invest in owned media, you basically derive a lot of benefits by driving down investment into paid media, which is a very good thing. So let me just illustrate that with one of my examples. In fact, it's an example from our own industry, and it's called HubSpot. So this next slide is a screenshot from HubSpot, which is a marketing automation software. I don't use this software, but if you notice, it has got a whole lot of content which places it as an industry leader, as an industry thought leader, actually. So even if you are not a user of this software, on the way to reading or downloading content from this particular website, you would find that you would probably think and you would probably consider buying this software license. So this is an example where it's not a media company, but they are acting as a media company by giving you a lot of content for free and trying to be a thought leader in that industry. Another example, HubSpot was more of a broad-based industry thought leader. We are talking about another one called Word Tracker here, and Word Tracker just makes a keyword research tool. And via this page called Word Tracker Academy, or this media resource, they are trying to be a thought leader in that particular niche, which is keyword research. You would find that these kind of strategies are being employed by a lot of people. So what you do is you identify one particular niche, and then you try and lead that particular niche. So whenever you talk about a particular keyword, whenever you put that keyword in a search engine, it's always that company which comes up. So online marketing, HubSpot may not be a leader today, but their strategy is probably to become a leader in online marketing, almost acting like a quasi-media company. Similarly, for a narrower niche, you have got Word Tracker, which could just be trying to own this keyword called keyword research. And now they are actually expanding into strategy and link building, but that's a different story. They started with keyword research. So then content is king, queen, and everything else. We talked about being an industry thought leader with the help of content. But then you might say that involves a lot of investment. I would give you an example of Google, where they are actually saving money by investing in content. So you know that many of us are users of Google AdWords, and we find that they have got a huge content on Google AdWords, how to use it, what do you do when you have an interest, when you have a problem, and what should you do instead of calling up people. So Google has got call centers in Philippines, India, US, but then you can imagine if they don't have such comprehensive content on Google AdWords, problems, solutions, workarounds, then they will be getting a lot of calls to their call centers. They are probably saving a lot of money by having a very good content strategy, which helps customers learn about Google AdWords, learn about the other products, and then get their answers directly from the website rather than calling up. So they're probably saving a lot of money there.
I think this is a very valid example. I had not thought of it in this manner, but I think for the ratio of revenues to support cost in terms of people, I think $35 billion in revenue to number of people they would employ globally, it probably will be the lowest in the world, because a similar, another company which is into technology products or services, the number of support people they may have in compared to what AdWords generates for them would be like 100 times more people, if not more. So I think this is a very, very valid point. Although we use it every day, but we've never thought of it that way.
Yes,
That
right.
as a customer support thing is so true. Amazing.
Yes, exactly. So yes, investing in content does take a lot of money, but then it can also save you money by replacing your customer service by adding web pages and web content. When I talk about content, I'm not just talking about entertainment content or media content. I'm talking about e-learning or learning content. You know, we need to take a holistic view of content. Then the last point, which is focus on owned media, as it increasingly plays a key role in enhancing the firm's valuation. So I think of content as assets or digital assets. And just like any other asset, a long-term strategy on developing your content is more profitable. So you need to take your content not as an annual strategy, but as a 5-year strategy or a 10-year strategy. That's when you start getting your ROI or return on investment. So use your content. Use your content to build audience, and use that audience to get customers. And then, when you have got those customers, you create advocates. And it is much better to have one advocate than 10 transactional customers. So you know, by having content and by distributing it and promoting it via social media and mobile, what you're doing is you are creating a lot of relationships, and one relationship, one long-term customer is far more important than 10 transactional customers. And in my case study, I'll show you how it pans out. Content, until now, content has proven value in sales. By sales, you get lower long-term cost of acquisition, and you enhance loyalty. You get savings in operations and customer service, and you increase your brand value. In fact, your own content is a big contributor in increasing your brand value. So then, what should be your strategy? One of the biggest mistakes that I have seen companies make is they start creating content before actually having a content strategy. It is very important that you have a content strategy that is completely in alignment with your marketing strategy, and your marketing strategy has got clear marketing objectives. Determine what type of content you would produce, what channels you would use, how would you distribute, and how you would promote it. So after you have aligned your content strategy with your marketing strategy and with your marketing goals, what do you want to achieve? You are clear about that. Then you go into the steps of creating content, distributing content, and promoting content. So at this stage only, you determine what type of media types will you focus on. Would you focus on video, podcasts, presentations, game, text, white paper, webinar? What kind of content do you want to invest in? So as you can see, this is a very lower step. I find that a lot of companies start with this step actually. They just start with a video, or they just start with a few white papers or webinars. You need to really have the marketing strategy first, and then only go into this step. After this, we are talking about detailed planning. By detailed planning, I mean monthly targets. So how many blog posts will I write, and of what length? How many videos, how many podcasts? What would be my weekly production schedule? So what would be the list of distribution channels that I would have? What promotion channels to use? What is a realistic estimate of how much time it would take every day of the week and every week of the year to achieve my quantitative goals? I often find that a blog is created, but then the blog is filled up for the first 1 month, and after the 1 month, no one is there to take care of the blog. So you need to have an annual strategy, and you need to have someone's time blocked to create blog posts and to create content. We are really talking about at least a 1-year strategy broken down into monthly and weekly targets. That's when you have a sustainable content strategy. The best practice is to upload and then embed. You should not really have content which is all part of a closed box. That also helps in SEO, and that also helps in optimizing for web presence. So very quickly, what are the 5 moving parts in building a content strategy? Number 1 is budget and resources. You have to ensure that your content strategy is well funded, and the cost of all 3 steps are covered in the budget, the 3 preceding steps. You need to decide which platforms you will use, and you need to decide which blogging engine, which social media websites, and the depth of your involvement. For example, if your strategy includes LinkedIn, are you going to have a group of your own, or are you going to just participate in groups? Similarly, you need to check out which blogging engine would you use. Would you use an open source blogging engine like WordPress, or just or a platform, proprietary platform? My favorite is always an open source platform like WordPress for content creation. You need to document all the access details, make sure that there is a long-term commitment of the management, and you have to ensure that there is an editorial style guide so that as people change, as new people come in and start writing content, they have some kind of consistent style guide to which they write. Otherwise, your blog will be, your blog post will be 100 words long in day 1, and 1,000 words or large essays on day 10. So that should not happen. You should have a process-driven approach to content strategy. I will give you an example of how our company implemented a content strategy for a company called Private Wealth Network. So let me give you the before. So let me give you the before scenario. I'm talking about an event production website, which was, or an event producer, which was until about 3.5 years back, they were using the web as a platform to upload programs, letting the customers download those programs and forms, let them fill it in and fax it. So this is a typical strategy that is used by most event production companies.
Yeah. Hasnian, one quick question. We've got about 6 minutes left. So I think just cover this in a minute or so, then we can do or
Yeah, sure,
6 minutes of.
Yes. So this was the before scenario. The web was being used only to upload documents, and letting customers just download those documents. It was all about PDF. So you can see, it was all about just downloading documents. And so the before scenario is just an event production company which helps people get continuing education. But then they had GFC, there was a lot of issues, and they had to use web in a more substantive way. So this is the after, this is what we came up with. So you can imagine that it was an events company, but you don't have events right on, almost on the first fold. So what we did was we created a huge directory of knowledge items, more than 500 items, which really helped us in SEO. We had podcasts, webinars. We also started a membership, which was a paid. Initially, it was free membership, and then it was converted into paid membership. And so we almost reinvented the company with a content strategy. We renamed the company from Dealers Group to Private Wealth Network, which meant that earlier we were dealing with a larger segment of financial planners. Now we were talking about only the high-end financial planners, which are often called family offices and wealth managers.
Yes, then can we, any?
Yes, so now we have got newsletters, blogs, and so on. So basically, we almost sort of transformed the company's operations from being just a platform of documents to a network that is a go-to destination for its financial planners and for its target audience. So that was all from my side. Just a few screenshots, and that's it.
So great, Hasnain. I think it's a great idea of building content and take let's say now content can be planned for a year and can take videos, podcasts, images, whatever things you desire, and every company can have just one specialty. Let's say somebody can make videos and create authoritative videos on that section. I'd like to throw the questions to the house. Any questions anybody has for a specific speaker would be great. So this is where exactly where I was coming from when I did the first session is psychographics. Psychographics. As soon as you talk about demographics, you will take care of cannibalization, right? So the thing is that let's say the new product you're launching has to have a differentiation, should cater to a different psychographic. It should be more expensive or cheaper or better, or it should have something which the other product doesn't have. And if that product is going to replace the previous product, right, then so cannibalization is okay. There are a lot of companies whose strategy is built on cannibalization, right? So you take an Apple or a Sony, every new product they launch is supposed to cannibalize and destroy the other, right? So if that's not a strategy, then there has to be a differentiation for that product and should be meant for a different target audience. But as you take demographic, then it's impossible to do so. But if you take psychographics, you can always find out these niche psychographics for whom the product is for, right? Anything, Amit or
No, in my experience, I think if the product itself is built not to cannibalize, if it's baked into the product itself, then targeting the relevant audience is easiest on digital.
I think if you are, if you have conceptualized your product in a very organized way, and you are ensuring that the target audiences are slightly different, then it is very easy to use digital channels to promote both of those products simultaneously. In fact, the keyword here is synergy. So what you can do is you can use your existing digital assets, including the audiences you have built, to promote your new product. So in fact, you can really synergize from what you already have got to launch your product, to launch your new product, basically.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Amit. I'm director and CEO of Virka Infotech Private Limited. We own certain e-commerce portals.
Okay, I would request please put up your hand so at least now I know where you are.
Actually, I already did, and she
Okay,
got, give me the
sure.
mic. All right. My question is for Amit. I mean, this is regarding the copied content. Like, it's in the trend, and I've seen it a few times that whenever we used to write a unique article or a blog or anything on the website, someone else copied it from our website and put it on a free page or a blog, and their website or their page came up on the top. I mean, my result is like on the 10th, and his result is on the top. I mean, this is something I've seen it many times. So what could be the reason for that? And
I'm a better person to answer this question.
you can please.
Unless you copied the article.
So, Ali, I think this is a challenge that I think Amit can add to it, but this is a challenge we face every single day, right? What happens is the way we do SEO in India and many corporates is the basics of SEO is not done. That they have redirection on the home page or there are cannibalization on the home page. The SEO link equity is so low that what happens is that we upload some content, but our site is being indexed once in 7 days or 10 days because Google doesn't consider a site authoritative. Well, that site is being indexed 3 times a day. So Google, what it does is it puts a date stamp on the content where it originally finds it. If Google ends up indexing that content before you, then even though you own it, that guy will get the SEO credit for it. So it's very important that you should have an HTML sitemap on your site. You should see what your crawl data tells you, how often the spiders are visiting you, if your spider can enter your site and actually index the content quickly or not. All these things are very, very essential because if you're uploading original content and somebody else is going to index it and get the credit for it, then the whole purpose behind content creation is lost, right? So Ben is actually going to cover the next session of how do you optimize content. If you upload some content on YouTube, what do you do? If you upload some images, what do you do? So he's going to cover 40 or 50 minutes on how do you do SEO for web presence rather than SEO for a website. So I think we'll go deep into it. But Amit,
I'll just share one quick solution. So I think we've understood the problem. Your content, somebody else benefited. but Google and most search engines, they have these self-service tools for webmasters. You talked about HTML maps, that's part of the self-service tool, and now those tools have sophisticated to the point wherein you can tell the search engine that, look, I have new content, index it now. If you don't tell it, the search engine will come as it finds appropriate. But you can also interact with the search engine, pass it messages. That should help.
Basically, webmaster tools will help you do all the things that we're asking you to do. Okay, sure. And you can pick Ben's brains or Amit's brains offline also. One last question before we wrap up.
Hi, my name is Shweta and I'm from HP. My question is about the abandon rate. I want to understand if there is any particular benchmark that we can hold for the abandon rate that we get on our various campaigns that we execute. You know, for example, I take care of supplies, which is ink and toner cartridges. In my case, the abandon rate goes up to 90%. So I don't know if that's good, bad, because what Amit said was 60% is also bad, for example, for travel. So I need some clarity there, or is it possible to benchmark it as per segments, because ours is a low involvement category anyways. So how do we handle that?
I can talk about it. So, but just so we understand the question.
Yeah, so basically, is there a benchmark for abandon rates or bounce rates?
Sorry. Abandon rate, which is bounce rate, different words for it. There is no benchmark, but to give you a helpful answer, if you have a form where someone just has to come fill their details, hit submit, and nothing else happens, their data is captured, and they just leave the website, you want people to leave, right? In some ways, like Google, they see the search result, we want them to leave. But if you are a content provider, like you are a blog, or worse, if you're a newspaper, and people come to your website and just leave, that's bad for your business. Now, in this particular example for HP, 90% is bad, I would say. Not to say that, aim for 20%, which may be unrealistic. Abandonments will happen, but what you can do is you can figure out who is leaving. Are they coming from search engines? Are they coming from banners? If someone, unfortunately, came to your website after searching for Katrina Kaif, they're going to leave. You can look, those things do happen. It may sound funny, those things do happen. You can look at those things too.
No, I think let's end it at that. We have a quick break and then we'll be reconvening. And I think we'll talk offline because, I think the biggest challenge with analytics is people take averages, right? And based on that, they make actionable insights based on averages. Now, if you have 1,000 keywords driving you traffic, some will be 95%, 98%, some will be 20%, some will be 10%. The average is 90%. So till the time you dig down deeper and see what the intent of the user was. The person was looking for print cartridges, HP print cartridges, whatever XY said, and then you have 90% bounce rate, then you have a serious problem. Right? Somebody is looking for a free printer cartridge, a refill print cartridge, you have 90% bounce rate, you're fine with it. That's not your target audience in any case, right? You don't want a person to get free ink or somebody is looking for pirated print cartridge or whatever, duplicate print cartridge, etc. So then you don't want those users. So if you analyze it deeper to the keyword level, things will get sorted out pretty quickly.
I think you need to look at your traffic sources. I think traffic sources will give you an idea of why the bounce rate is happening. If the traffic sources are more towards the junk category, then the bounce rate will be high. And if you are targeting your traffic very well, then it could really get better. So traffic sources could be the key for you.
Sure. We've kept this format of having these small breaks so that you can meet the specific speaker of the session and ask them any questions that you have personally to them and get a break. So I think the next session we're going to cover, now that we have know why we should create content, why and how to create it, now we're going to talk about optimizing it. So if you have video, images, blogs, webcast, all these things, how do you make sure that you rank for that content on both Google and YouTube and other search engines? And how do you make sure that the users find that content? And what are the best ways to optimize it? So it's going to be a slightly more deeper session into how do you make sure your content gets found, especially from non-paid channels. Yeah, thanks guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.